Hello historians, and welcome to another Purple Shirt History. In this video, we'll look at time management basics and show you how to budget your time out when doing the paper one. You can know all of the facts, you could have perfect structure in your essays, but if you can't do these skills in the allotted amount of time, you won't do well in your Cambridge exam. So with this video, hopefully you'll get an idea of how much time you can dedicate to each question in order to get the highest marks possible. If you find this video useful, please like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to answering your questions below. With that, sit back, relax, grab your notebook, and enjoy the video. So here is a breakdown of all three parts of paper one, starting with part A here. A part A question is very short, so it should only take about 3 minutes to do. Here are the three separate steps of answering a part A question. The first is to read and underline the keywords in the question and to just make one-word note. So you can write something like a person's name, a date, an event. These are the things that will get you marks. The majority of the time for part A is writing your answer. Since it's just putting points and evidence on paper, there's no real structure, so most of this should go quite easily. You don't have to think about how everything will fit nicely into multiple paragraphs and a conclusion. It's something that you just need to write down your thoughts that answer the question. The last thing to do is to reread your answers, which should only take a few seconds. Make sure the dates are correct. Make sure the names are right. Spelling isn't terribly important, but it should be close enough to get the marks so the person knows that you know what you're talking about. Next is part B. This is a bit more difficult than part A. Again, the first thing to do is to read the question and underline the keywords. Make a plan that is a bit more detailed than just one-word notes. So you can write down PEE and then have your point in 2 or 3 words, have evidence in 2 or 3 bits of evidence, and have explanations. Now that you have a plan, 2 PEEs, you can start writing them. When making points, they should be quite short. I tell students to have a point that is less than 10 words long. So it's direct, it's not rambling, it's not being descriptive, it's just making a short and concise point. Then, after that short point is made, write down, for example, for instance, and then give that specific piece of evidence that is a keyword, a person, an event, a group of people, countries, international organizations, wars, treaties, elections, whatever the case may be. Then the last part is the explanation. So you're going to say something like, therefore, and then use your background knowledge to justify that your evidence supports your point and your point answers the question. This has to be done twice. Do not do it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. It's better just to have 2 paragraphs that are fully complete than to have 3, 4, 5 semi-complete paragraphs. Those will not score as well. Last thing, read the answer. Are your points clear? Do you have your keywords? And have you used background knowledge to explain what you just wrote? Finally, we have our part C. So this could take anywhere between 25 to 28 minutes. Hopefully you should keep it under a half an hour. This is very similar. We begin the same way as we did with the part A and part B. Read and underline all the keywords. The planning stage is much more detailed in the part C. You're going to have to think of the conclusion already. So as soon as you read the question, you should think, oh, I know what the answer is. It's to a large extent, a moderate extent, a small extent. Then you're going to make 4 T-charts, PEEs. So you'll have the plus side on one and the negative sign on the other, and you'll have PEE on one side, and then PEE, and PEE on the other side. I'm writing down Peel here because that's the name of the structure of the paragraph, but you really don't need to link anything yet. That skill is not really a requirement for paper one. So it would be nice if you could do that, but it's more important to focus on the PEE aspect of the Peel paragraph and not so much on linking everything. Your introduction. Some teachers say skip the introduction. I do not. I believe it is a good starting point to reinforce the points in your mind and to give your evaluation. You may run out of time if you don't budget properly, and then you won't have time to write down your evaluation, and that will cost you marks. So by writing the evaluation in the introduction, you will have an opportunity to get that out of the way. All your points are there, and now the person reading your essay will have an idea of your general direction. So your first paragraph, I wrote down pro in the timeline here, but you can also start with con. It doesn't matter. What I would recommend, though, is to have 2 paragraphs follow each other that are on the same side of the argument. Do not go pro, con, pro, con. It really goes back and forth too much, and it's hard to be more cohesive if you're just bouncing back and forth between pro and con. So make a solid argument on one side. So write P1, write P2, same side, build argument. Then you can flip over and show the balance on the other side. So if you look at the bottom there, it says, on the other hand, and then it has the Peel first con, third paragraph for your essay. Then follow that up with your final body paragraph. This is when you should be towards the end of the time given. So hopefully you've finished your last body paragraph, that fourth one, before the 5-minute warning, and then you can move on to your conclusion. So the conclusion, go full circle. Restate your points, restate the question, and write down to what extent you agree or disagree with the question. Hopefully you'll have 2 or 3 minutes at the end when you've finished writing to go over your exam and to check for any mistakes, any years that are wrong, any countries that maybe you mixed up, any names of anything or any types of evidence that maybe in a rush you kind of forgot or misrepresented what you were trying to write. So I really believe writing to the final pencils down is not the way to go at all. Please read and catch yourself in the final 2 or 3 minutes, and that can save you as many marks, if not more, than writing to the very last second.